A year soon passes after the defeat of Frieza, and Goku still hasn't returned yet, though things in this timeline are going to be a lot different, as Frieza being dead changes a lot. With Frieza being dead, King Cold never would have learned that the one who defeated Frieza was from Earth, so it's likely he takes the Empire back over, but he also can't track down Frieza's killer. This means that instead of the warrior from the future coming back to defeat them and warn the heroes, they just come back to warn the heroes. Instead of going to the wasteland to meet Goku when he arrives, they might go to meet Chi-Chi instead. Before getting into that, I'm going to explain who this future warrior is. Since Bulma and Yamcha are still together in this timeline, I made the future warrior a child of theirs. As usual when I keep Bulma and Yamcha together in a timeline, I still make their child a son named Trunks, just for the sake of simplicity. Anyway, with that out of the way, I can get into what he does now that he is in the past. He might try going to the lookout to meet Chi-Chi there, though this would take some explaining about why he would know where it is. From what we know of the future timeline, the lookout was likely destroyed, so future Trunks never would have known where it was. In this timeline, the only reason he might have learned its location is from his mother, Bulma, since she likely knew about it because of Yamcha having trained there. He would have tried looking for it in his timeline, but with it being destroyed, he couldn't find it. Regardless, when he does manage to find the lookout in the past and arrive there, he is quickly greeted by Chi-Chi. He would explain who he is, and that he's Bulma and Yamcha's son from the future. Though that wouldn't be a shock like him being Vegeta's son in our timeline was. Anyway, he'd give her the warning about the androids arriving in 3 years. He'd also tell her about the heart virus that ended up killing her. When she died, the Dragon Balls went with her, and then the others died at the hands of the androids not long after. So, he gives her a capsule of the heart virus medicine. After Trunks finishes explaining, he says he'll be back to help against the androids, as he then leaves. Chi-Chi then goes on to contact all of the other heroes and give them the warning about the androids arriving in 3 years. Goku also arrives later that day, and while he does tell the others what he was up to while he was gone, Chi-Chi passes the warning on to him as well. With everyone having been warned now, they would all go to begin their training in preparation for the androids. Chi-Chi might have had 2 ideas on how to further her own training after hearing about how Goku trained on planet Yardrat. Both ideas would initially involve her going to talk to King Kai. The first idea is her trying to convince King Kai to allow her to meet and train with the other Kais. This also might involve her briefly training under King Kai again, since he didn't really get to teach her anything magic related before, and he might be able to briefly do so. The other idea would have been to help her find planet Yardrat so that she could train there. I think some of the techniques Goku mentioned them having would have piqued her interest, since they could go well with her magic, such as their healing or the Force Spirit Fission. There's also the possibility that she could explore both options, since with how much stronger she is now, it likely wouldn't take long to train under the Kais. As for training on Yardrat, it only took Goku a year, so it could be roughly the same for her to train there. She might be reluctant to be off of the planet for that long, since she's the Guardian, but through using her magic, she should be able to keep an eye on the Earth even when she is away. The order doesn't really matter, but I'm going to start with how she could train with the Kais. These are going to go by pretty quick, as we don't know a lot about how each Kai trains their students, but we do have some basic information about them. From what we know about the East Kai, her training seemed to focus around speed, so Chi-Chi likely learns how to weave her magic into her movement in ways that increases her speed, but also allows her to misdirect opponents with the trails of fire or light that are left behind. As for training with the West Kai, we just know that he taught Peacon a technique and fighting stance to go with it, so his training might focus on offense. So, for her, he could train her on how to make her magic more destructive, such as using it to cause condensed explosions instead of just bursts of flames. As for the South Kai, his training focused on defense, so he could teach her how to use her spiritual flames to shield herself from corruption, along with some basic healing techniques. Lastly, if she trains with King Kai again, they could work on trying to develop the Kaioken in a way that also utilizes her magic. Instead of just being able to use her magic while using the Kaioken, which puts more strain on her body, I'm meaning she tried to find a way to merge the two without causing as much strain. This could manifest in something that magnifies her magical energy instead of just her physical output, but since it still does magnify her physical output, there'd always be stress on her body. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'd call this version of the Kaioken combined with her magic the Arcane Kaioken. Overall, she likely trained for about a year with the Kais, or roughly 3 months per Kai. Now, as for training on Yardrat, she'd have to start with learning the basics of spirit control, but when it comes to learning a technique, I don't think she'd learn the instant transmission, since she already knows the Kai Kai, which is basically a more advanced way of teleporting. Instead, I think she'll learn healing from them to improve on the basic knowledge she has of it that Kami and South Kai taught her. If she gets time, she might learn the basics of Force Spirit Fission, but I don't think she would be anywhere near ready to use it in battle by the time the androids arrive. Once she finishes training on Yardrat for about a year, she'd return to Earth and spend the last year before the androids arrive training alongside the other heroes.